In 1966, the Black Panther Party was formed in Oakland, California. Reaching Chicago in 1968, it was mostly an African American activist group. Their original objective was to protect African American neighborhoods from police brutality. Their radical 10-point program was to enforce their desired goals. In contrast to the ideas of Martin Luther King Jr., the Black Panther Party did not support the ideals of peaceful protesting. Fred Hampton, the leader of the party in Chicago, took the responsibility of fighting for the rights of equality for all minorities in Chicago. The Black Panther Party brought together the gangs of Chicago, believing that everyone had the responsibility to fight for their rights of equality. Establishing their breakfast and medical program in Chicago, they took on the responsibility of improving the community. Using their 10-point program as a guide, the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther Party did what the police and local government could not do and took on the responsibility of making Chicago a better place while fighting for the rights of equality for the people.
An essential part in the foundation of the Black Panther Party was the 10-point program. The 10 points provided would serve as multiple stepping stones towards their final goal of a utopian Marxist society. It started out with their wish for a large amount of freedom and power for themselves, and ended with their wish for the same ideas as the whites in their community. The first point was, we want freedom, we want power to determine the destiny of our black community. The Black Panthers believed that oppressed minorities could not be completely free unless they had the power to control their destinies themselves. They hoped for full control of the facilities and institutions within their communities, reflecting their Marxist views. This tenet greatly affected the way public institutions continue to be regarded by the individual because of the facility's responsibility to society in which it is located. The second point was completely as important as the first point. The Black Panther Party stated, "We want full employment for our people." Their request for full employment demonstrates their wish to be completely equal to the whites that surround them, and not to be considered as even slightly inferior to the other groups which make up American society. The third point was oriented mostly towards the U.S. government. We want an end to the robbery by the capitalists of our black community. Here, the Black Panther Party is accusing the government of robbing them of their unalienable rights. They demand justice from a government that swears to defend its citizens while authorizing the murder of minorities. This has impacted the way that people now look at the social contract and how the government has the responsibility of protecting its citizens as well as their rights. The fourth point sort of reminds one of the inhumane treatment of slaves during the 1800s. The Black Panther Party speaks out and claims, "We want decent housing fit for the shelter of human beings." Their ability to demand for proper housing also shows that they acknowledge that they deserve the right for better treatment from the government, no matter their skin color. In addition, to add to housing, the point would also strongly impact the society because it completely meant that African Americans would also need the opportunity for decent jobs that provide enough money for them to support themselves and hopefully also their families. Finally, the fifth point in their 10-point plan is, we want decent education for our people that exposes the true nature of this decadent American society. We want education that teaches us our true history and our role in the present-day society. Although the Black Panther Party spoke of multiple thoughts and ideas to support the African American community of America, it is inferred that they were not positive that their methods would aid others successfully. The fifth point puts in emphasis that the Black Panther Party does not demand for complete equality with the whites concerning their education. On the other hand, they simply demand for their education to be somewhat superior and better to the one they received at the moment. Therefore, the Black Panther Party contained many strong arguments and decent points concerning the community as a whole.
The sixth point makes a very distinct request. We want all black men to be exempt from military service. The Black Panthers thought it was an outrage that African Americans should have to help defend a government that oppresses them and that does not protect their rights. This affected how people saw mandatory military service. If the government does not defend the people's rights, then the citizens should no longer have the responsibility to help defend the government which wrongs them. The seventh point, we want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of black people, other people of color, all oppressed people inside the United States. The seventh point practically sums up the entire reason for why the Black Panther Party was even created. Their main reason to be organized was to fight off and to confront the police brutality occurring in Oakland during the mid-1900s. Therefore, states their main focus in the beginning. However, their original reason for organizing the party is now surrounded by many other ideas as well. The 7-point exposed their distaste for all fascist views of the police force. In consequence, the Black Panther Party gained many members in their revolt, although eventually their views ended up altering into another. The 8th point was very controversial. We want freedom for all black men held in federal, state, county, and city prisons and jails. The holding of African Americans in jail was judged as unconstitutional by the Black Panther Party because they were tried unfairly. In the Constitution, it is said that all citizens have the right to a trial by a jury of their peers, while the African Americans were judged by a jury of racist whites, which almost affirms their trip to prison. This had a huge impact on the rights of minorities in the courtroom, which can be seen to this day. Before the last and final point, there is a 9th point, one that demands rights given to the people in the Constitution. We want all black people, when brought to trial, to be tried in court by a jury of their peer group or people from their black communities, as defined by the Constitution of the United States. However, it was often viewed that since blacks were based on the first point that the Black Panthers want the power to determine the destiny of the black community, and the 10th point claiming they want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace. The Chicago chapter of the Panthers opened 5 free breakfast programs and medical clinics. The Chicago chapter of the Panthers opened more free breakfast programs than all the other Black Panther chapters. These programs allowed everyone who needed food to receive it for free before they went to work or to school. The free breakfast programs relate directly to the first point because by giving these people who cannot afford breakfast the food that they needed to start their day, they were effectively eliminating hunger in the community. The Black Panthers took the responsibility of controlling the destiny of the community and putting it in the right direction. In addition, in relation to the first point of the plan, they were constantly giving bread to the people. The Panthers also took the responsibility of providing health care to the communities by providing a free health care clinic and door-to-door health service testing for diseases similar to sickle cell anemia. The Panthers opened this clinic because they felt as though it was their responsibility to control the destiny of their community and make it a better place. A healthier community is always a better community, and it gave people temporary housing while in the hospital.
Based on the first point that the Black Panthers want the power to determine the destiny of their black community, and the 10th point claiming that they want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, and peace, the Chicago chapter of the Panthers opened 5 free breakfast programs and medical clinics. The Chicago chapter of the Black Panther Party opened more free breakfast programs than any other of the Black Panther chapters. These programs allowed everyone who needed food to receive it for free before they went to work or school. The free breakfast programs relate directly to the first point because by giving these people who cannot afford breakfast the food they needed to start their day, they were effectively eliminating hunger in their community. The Black Panthers took the responsibility of controlling the destiny of their community and putting it in the right direction. In addition, in relation to the 10th point of their plan, they were constantly giving bread to the people. The Panthers also took the responsibility of providing health care to their communities. By providing a free health care clinic and door-to-door health services, testing for diseases similar to sickle cell anemia, the Panthers opened this clinic because they felt as though it was their responsibility to control the destiny of their community and make it a better place. A healthier community is always a better community, and it gave them people temporary housing while in the hospital. One of the most important events of the Chicago chapter of the Black Panther Party was the method used to bring together the most powerful gangs of Chicago as part of taking on the responsibility to make Chicago a better place. They were able to get the biggest gangs in Chicago to sign a non-aggression pact. The pact was called the Rainbow Coalition. It brought together a very diverse group of people. The reason that these street gangs agreed to sign the pact was because the Chicago chapter believed that if they were all united, it would help their fight for equality occur easier and faster. It was simple logic that probably would have eventually caused a huge impact on the civil rights movement in Chicago if Fred Hampton had been around long enough to make it a success. Unfortunately, in December of 1969, Hampton was killed when the police raided his house. Even though the Rainbow Coalition did not have a huge impact, Hampton's murder proved as a rallying point for Panther members in Chicago and encouraged them to make a statement that police brutality was still a factor when dealing with the minorities and Panther members.